the Granby Conservation Commission at 7 p.m. on February 8th, 2022. First item in the Building and Board of Health applications is Berry Hill Road, Lot 2. Is anyone here for that project?
That's Michelle Turgeon. She's
Okay,
our fire chief.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah, I don't think Micheline, are you here? Yeah, we'll circle back to that.
Yeah. All right. So Western Builders, would you like to start us off?
Go ahead, Lance.
Okay. We're just trying to seek approval to build a 16 by 24 shed on the side of our existing building on the northeast corner behind the Cumberland Farms. I gave Janice a plot plan. Did she distribute it?
Yes.
Yes, I've got my copy.
Amanda, could you put that up on the screen, please?
Yeah, let me see if I can do that.
Okay.
Lance, did you measure on your plan the distance, the closest distance between the shed and the edge of the wetland?
I did not.
Okay. I tried to scale it from your plan. It looked like it was maybe like 22 feet at the closest points. I wasn't sure if that seemed about right or not.
And what do we need to be?
Or what is possible.
Yeah, as far as possible.
Well,
One sec, let me try this again. Sorry.
Yeah, I haven't gotten it yet.
I think you guys did an RDA with us a couple of years ago, Lance. I think Timmy did it for you.
Yes.
Now, is this plan based on that site
Yeah.
plan?
That's
Oh, it
the
is,
site
okay.
plan for that project.
Oh, okay, good. Well, why don't you blow that up, Amanda, so we can see it?
Okay. And it looks like it's from 2017.
Okay, yeah, that's the one I recall seeing. Okay.
So I believe this is the
Yep.
shed that's proposed.
Correct.
Okay.
So it looks like you're going to have to clear a bunch of area.
No, it's already been cleared. It's cleared to about 3 feet past that shed.
Okay.
And we had put rocks there so that we could maintain the distance that all that stuff kept creeping in. At one point, that stuff crept in and had encapsulated the entire building.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I bet there's a lot of invasives in there.
Absolutely. It doesn't take long either. If we don't stay at it, it's coming for us.
Yeah. Now, Lance, is there a silt fence or hay bale or straw bales on site currently, or have those been removed from the last project?
Those have been removed.
Okay. Again, just looking at this quickly, it looks like your new building will not encroach any closer than the existing work, and that seems to be important.
Is that true? I mean, it looks like it's further back.
It is an RDA. If it's within 100 feet of a wetland, especially if it is within 50 feet of the wetland edge, it does require an RDA filing.
Yeah. And when I tried to just sort of gauge it this afternoon, it looked to be the closest points of the wetland and the shed, a little over 20 feet, something like that. There's a scale at the bottom right.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I just lost
So what
that.
you guys are suggesting then is he take and modify that 2017 site plan and just sketch in the building and refile.
One sec, let me pull up the, I'm trying to get to the site on the map. About the street names, I'm all disoriented.
What is it? It's 73 Pleasant, I think, isn't it?
Yes,
Correct.
Pleasant Street, yes.
Okay.
There it is.
Yeah, this seems more accurate to how those wetlands look. I'd be curious to go out there and see if it still matches up.
So what are we looking at there, Amanda? Is that actually the bordering vegetated wetland area?
Yeah, but it's not delineated, of course. So this is just an approximation based on aerial photos
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
from
Now,
like
now,
2005.
Lance, it looks like, is that a lawn, a turf area behind the building to the north?
That's correct.
This,
Okay,
yeah.
and are you gonna put this building on the turfed area?
Yes,
Okay, so you're not gonna disturb any natural vegetation, just the turf?
that's correct.
Okay, well,
So
that's a
you can see
positive
this.
in my book.
You can see the stones. See all the
Yep.
stones in the back that we placed?
Yep.
Yeah,
We'll be on this side of the stones.
okay. Janice, is there not an exemption for small outbuildings?
I think that's just for single family homes. It's not for commercial.
And it
Oh,
has to
okay.
be a minimum of 50 feet away from the wetland edge.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
why don't you guys, yeah, if you go into the code right now, if you would, Janice, and just verify that. Because that notwithstanding, then we'll just have Lance file for a permit. But if there's an exemption, maybe you can avoid getting going for a permit here.
Okay.
I'm very, very familiar with this particular exemption, so it doesn't qualify. Just because I deal with this stuff all the time.
Okay,
It's got to be 50 feet away for it to be exempt.
Yep. It has to
And
be
again,
residential.
I'm pretty sure it's
residential
single
and
family.
50 feet. Yep.
yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
It's 2B2E, conversion of
Okay.
lawn to uses residential and more than 50 feet.
So on that map,
Okay,
is the wetland the light blue or the dark blue? Because it seems like the dark blue matches what's on the plot plan.
So the reality is your current delineation that you have is no longer valid. They only last for 3 years. So if this was delineated in 2017, it's no longer valid. I don't recall reviewing that one particularly and knowing whether it was accurate or not. I do remember going to the site, but I didn't know enough at the time to determine if it had been accurate. So it's hard to really say based on the information we have currently.
Okay, well, I guess that's it. Yeah, it's residential only. You guys are right. So, Lance, I think what we're going to recommend then is file an RDA.
And I can send you the form and the instructions.
Okay.
Okay, again, it's not that big a deal. It does take a little bit of time, but I'm guessing the way the weather is, you're not gonna start this project probably till mid-spring.
Yeah. I mean, we're just trying to get out of having 2 storage facilities down the street and keeping our
Okay.
files a little closer to the building,
I got you. Okay, Janice, if you'd be so kind, then
Yep.
give Lance the paperwork he needs and maybe help him fill that out if you would.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Bill,
Thanks, Lance.
Bill,
For the plan.
Bill, could I ask a question about the storage
Well, of
building?
course, Dave. Sure, go ahead, Dave.
When the drawing shows that you were proposing a storage building that would be attached to the existing office building, which would be placed on the sonotube footings, what type of footings would you think you'd be using for this new storage building at 16 by 24 feet?
I was thinking of a thickened edge concrete slab on grade.
Okay. Yep. Because there's not really much weight there.
Well, again, the nice thing about that is it doesn't disturb the ground like a frost wall, so that would be
Right.
fine, provided you have enough drainage so you get frost heaving.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And
Okay.
it's just a storage building, so you'd have electric, but that's about it going out there. There'd be nothing else in the building.
Correct.
Okay. All right, that's all I had.
Okay. So
And I
any
think
other
this
comments?
plan is acceptable for an RDA. I think they could use this just fine, but we
Yeah.
probably
Oh,
want to do a site
exactly,
visit.
of course. Yeah, that's what I would do. I would just file the permit through Janice and submit this document with the sketch as shown.
Okay,
Yeah.
and for everybody's information, the building's 81 feet long, if that's of any interest. Helps you scale it.
Yeah.
The existing building.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Okay.
It's kind of tough out of the 5 acres we own. There's not much that we can really do anything with.
Right.
You know, no,
Right.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you.
All that wildlife habitat.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Really,
so,
really useful for a construction company.
yeah, yeah. Kevin, any comments on your end?
I don't have any comments, but I got a question. About a year ago, the question came up, what size becomes too big where a structure is no longer a shed? And you said you might have found the answer.
What?
Well, I think I talked to the building inspector. We were running circles on that for quite a while. And I think we concluded if an automobile fits in the building, it's not really a shed. But again, I've seen other buildings larger than 16 by 24 marketed by manufacturers as sheds. So it's a bit of a semantical question, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, it depends on the door, the opening too. If you can have a large shed and not have an overhead door for a vehicle to
Well,
even
that's right.
enter.
So if this were a residential structure of this size, the next question we'd have to ask is this truly a shed? But since this is not residential, it's a moot point, and
Yeah.
Lance is going to file for a permit. But that's a good question, Kev. I'm glad you recalled that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So just so everybody knows, we have no plan of putting an overhead door, just a pass door. And we plan on making the shed in exactly the same style, color, and everything as the main building.
Oh, the gambrel roof. Okay, great.
Correct.
Architecturally appealing. Very, very good. Excellent.
I think our building looks a heck of a lot better than it did for years.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
it looks, you guys do a nice job there. The place looks great.
Thank you.
Janice, do we need to vote on this? Amanda, do we need to vote on this?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay.
Doing interruption. Yeah.
All right. So
I
that's your
mean, basically,
marching
we
orders.
just need them to submit the appropriate form for us to vote on.
Okay, so Lance, you'll be filing a RDA Form 1, and Janice will assist you with the paperwork, at least getting it to you, okay?
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
evening.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All righty. Yeah, so the next item on the agenda is 142 Carver Street. Is someone here for that project?
Janice, did you get a hold of Paul?
Yes, I did, and he sent me a plan that I sent on to you guys. And he said if you need a site visit, you can do one, but the closest wetland is about 250, 300 feet away and back. And he's a professional wetland scientist.
Right.
And also that his sunroom that's going to come out the back of the house is going to be on what's presently a deck. So it seemed to me that it was going to be pretty limited in terms of impact. But I told him I'd check with you guys and see if you wanted us to do a site visit or not on it, and let him know.
Yeah, the other thing I noticed is a perennial stream to the north on the other side of Carver Street. And
Right.
that's from the nearest point of his existing house to the
Yeah.
edge of the blue line, if you will. It's over 300 feet, and he's actually proposing his addition in the back of the house. So as
Yeah.
far as the riverfront's concerned, that's totally out of play.
Yeah. And he's
And
on the
again-
side of the hill also, up against
That's
facing
right.
wildlife. So,
That's right. That's right. And actually, the terrain goes up to the south. So if there's any disturbance or any silt movement, it would actually move back into his own house.
yep.
So my opinion is no permit required. That's just my personal opinion.
I am gravitating towards agreeing with you, but at the same time, I hesitate to agree just because I know it's a wetland scientist, and I would assume that he is forthcoming with all evidence, but maybe we should just put our eyes on it just to do our due diligence.
Okay.
It doesn't seem like there's anything, but
Yeah, that's okay, just to be consistent.
yeah, just because if it was someone else telling us that the stream was, 300, 400 feet away, I would question whether they actually know what a wetland is. And
Yeah.
while I know a professional will know what a wetland is, just the due
Yeah.
diligence part.
Okay. That all right with you
No
guys?
worries.
I can try to
Well-
arrange something with Dave sometime.
Okay, that, you're saying you're recommending, Amanda, that we should go out there and at least look at the site.
Yeah, just to confirm that
Yeah,
the information's
Okay.
accurate, the mapping's
I'm
accurate.
not against that. We were planning on doing it Monday, but we couldn't get in touch with the man. So, and it's private property, so we can't just walk on the property, so,
Yeah, and it's behind his house. You can't do a drive-by.
you know,
Yep.
and it's all trees.
Yeah.
So Janice, will you coordinate that for us?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, next item.
Okay. Next item is go back to Ferry Hill Road, Lot 2. Is someone here for that project? No one? Alrighty, so is it time for us to open our public hearings? Oh, no.
No, we can actually do administrative duties if you want to zip through those.
Yeah. So the first one up is commentary, dumping leaves in wetlands. Is that still an active topic?
Yeah, Janice, are you following up, you're writing a little one pager for us on that?
I haven't been recently. I didn't know whether to wait for another season, or if you want, I can still do something for the winter, or I suppose it'll be before spring cleanup or something like that. What do you
Okay,
want?
what do
It
you
might be
vote?
good to have one that says no snow dumping into wetlands, because that tends to be a common occurrence.
That too, yeah.
Not that I can call out anyone in Granby for doing it. It's just something I see in Framingham all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Okay, I can do some kind of a letter or something, and I'll bring it to you guys.
Yeah, do a little one page show and
Yeah.
tell, Janice, maybe with a couple of photos of typical leaf dumping in wetlands, and just make it eye catching and informative
Okay.
for folks. Yeah.
Didn't we have a flyer that you passed around about that very subject?
There's one somewhere along that line. And I had gotten two different versions on it, so there was something on each of them that didn't quite seem right that I was going to try to revise, and I didn't.
Well, maybe you could use those and just crib them to what we want.
Yeah.
Well, long as they're not copyrighted.
No, these are things from MACC that they say it's okay to go ahead
Okay.
and use.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So
All
put
right.
that in your laundry list of things to do,
Okay.
Janice.
Okay.
Not that you don't have anything to do.
Yeah, this is such a simple agenda this time. Huh?
I know.
Okay.
Okay.
While we're on the commentary, could I add a couple things right here?
Sure, Dave.
One question I had, and Janice and I spoke about it, but last meeting in December, we had people from 51 Forge Pond Road. They lost their house to a fire in December, and they were hoping to rebuild on that exact same site. And our recommendation at that time, Amanda, was that we really needed an RDA filed by them. And I wrote down in my notes that we were going to get an RDA to them. Now, I don't know if I misheard that, but do we know, has anybody heard? Have they started that, or has that just been quiet since the last meeting?
I haven't heard anything, and after you mentioned that to me, was it yesterday or the day before, I did reach out to the building inspector to get a telephone number at least to contact them. I called and left a message, and in the meantime, I looked on the Mass Mapper to get the address that they use for the tax bills, and I mailed a copy of the request for determination form out with a little note today to them.
Okay,
So,
that's probably
see what
all we
happens.
need to do, you know.
And I gave them the email so they can get in touch with me if they have questions too.
Perfect.
Okay, good. That's perfect. Thank you.
The next one is 193 Amherst Street, the RCOC, that attorney, the new owner's attorney. This is the septic tank bill that we approved, I guess, a few years ago, but the final certificate of compliance was never filed. So I'm just wondering what's the status of that. The attorney had filled out the paperwork for us and just wanted us to sign it, but we opted to.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of paperwork going back and forth. Janice, did you research that original document?
Yes, and we determined for sure that it was the 306 and not the 339 file. And
Okay.
then Dave and I did go out and check the septic system on the side of the house. Was it last week? I guess it was. Whenever
Yes,
it was.
It was
Yeah.
the February 1st.
Okay, yes, and so we did do that, and that seemed fine. I didn't find the order of conditions and the notice of intent that I have for this didn't really show the location of the septic system, so I didn't know what to expect when we got out there. But the owner was nice and told us where to look and brought us over there. We saw the pipe that comes out of it and all, and there didn't seem to be any issues. Far enough away from the wetland, and it was snowy and cold, so it's, I don't know, we could have missed something, but I don't think so. And it had recently changed hands, so they did have an inspection done before the house was sold as well. So I think that's all caught up. That's all that was for, was just for the replacement of the
Janice, that was 165-306.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now the other one, what was the other one for?
339 was for the house being built sort of in back, part of another one of those parcels that was cut out of the farm property.
All right, that's curious, because on 306, I remember when I looked at this a couple of years ago, I remember seeing the septic design plan for the farmhouse. I'm surprised it wasn't included in that document.
No, I didn't find it. I don't know. But at any rate, so yeah, I mean, if we really wanted to, I suppose we could get one from the Board of Health or something, but.
Yeah, no. Again, I think I've looked at it. You and David have looked at it. I don't think there's any problems there. So I recommend we just sign off on the Form 8.
Is that one that we would have Kathy sign for us, Bill?
I would recommend that, unless you want Janice to drive to everybody's house, which is a lot more time consuming. But I would just send a note to Kathy, tell her we approved it, and then we'll give her permission to sign our name on this particular project.
Great.
So with that being said, I'm going to make a motion that we grant the certificate of compliance, or issue the certificate of compliance.
Yep. And a full one, a complete, there isn't anything left hanging on it.
I'll second Amanda's motion.
Okay, and that's for 193 Amherst Street.
That's right. The farmhouse.
The Kizior farmhouse. Okay.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone oppose? Abstain? All right, unanimous.
Okay, good.
All right, thank you.
Very good.
All right, thank you.
And then one last thing, Bill and Amanda. Kathy Leonard asked me on the gravel permit inspection reports, we need to give her permission to sign something for the building department, I guess. I'm in water over my head on this one, but
no, that's fine. That's fine. If she wants to sign on our behalf, that would be fine. Personally, it's fine with me.
Okay.
But we'll have to each send her an email to that effect.
Right.
We don't want to give her carte blanche on these.
No. What I'll do, with your permission, I'll send out that email to everybody.
Of course, that's good, David. Thank you. Thanks.
Is that for all three of those, David, that we've done?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And on that same subject, Bill, Kathy is asking that we perform our inspections in the summer and not in the fall, which is what I had said in my minutes last time. She said because the paperwork is submitted to them in May, everybody submits their fees and returns their paperwork in June, she felt that doing inspections later than late summer is out of the question. So I don't know what you feel about that, but she gave me a pile of literature, but it didn't really say why, when we are supposed to do our inspections. I didn't know if there are time windows that we're supposed to inspect these properties.
Well, again, in a perfect world, I'd love to do it on schedule, but again, from time to time, things get messed up and schedules get moved around. But indeed, I'd love to be able to do that late summer, late summer, early fall, even into the fall. But again, I think doing it when there's snow on the ground is not prudent.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can put it into the notes that way, and at least it'll be on our schedule. So
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
of course. If it gets pushed back, it gets pushed back. But that's fine.
right.
Thank you.
That's right. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay, so next item is number 2, post the next meeting for March 8th, 2022 at 7 p.m. So it's posted. And then do we want to try and get through at least one of these minutes before 7:30?
Sure.
All right, start with December 14th.
If you could put that on the screen, Amanda, that'd be great.
Okay.
Did people have a chance to read those over?
Yeah. Okay. 39 West State Street. That's AJ's Auto Body. I guess they're doing work inside of the building. That's correct. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Aldridge Street. That's Associated Building Records for the barn at.
Well, it's the removal of the old grist mill building. That's right
yeah,
adjacent to Bachelor Brook.
Yeah.
They've not gotten back to us with anything.
Okay. Okay. Number 3 is Steve Brunetti.
Yeah. He was removing trees so that he hopes to build a house there this coming year.
Yeah, I'm recused on that. That's fine.
Yeah.
I think you and the group went out and did a fairly extensive Saturday morning site visit there.
We did.
Okay.
Okay. Ray Morissette.
He's the one that wants to convert a drainage ditch, put it into some sort of a culvert structure.
Right.
So that and also put a improved sanitary system.
Right.
Yeah, it's essentially a septic replacement project that requires some creative.
His engineering, I haven't heard anything from his engineering people, except I think Neil Jackson called me once about that, but I haven't heard anything in the last month.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now the ANRAD. Janice, if you would update actually it's on the agenda for tonight, so we'll wait till 7:30. And Kendall Street, that's the one Janice and Dave went to a couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Amanda, I think went one time, right, with Dave?
Amanda and Dave went once, and then Janice, I think, went also.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yep.
Okay, -3.
Okay. I make a
Very,
motion
very
to
good.
approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstain? Hearing none. It's unanimous. Great. All right, so now we can get into our appointments and public hearings. So the ANRAD, Janice, did you want to give us the update on that?
Yes, I don't see anyone from the applicant, but there isn't any news on their part other than we have the peer reviewer on board. They've received the materials, looked them over, and I asked for an update from them today, and they said that they've completed the review and they're ready to complete their field review as soon as weather allows, no frost or snow cover. So I'm going to check in with the consultant for the applicant and see if he wants to keep an eye on conditions and let us know if he thinks that things might be possible, and then we can check in. I'll check with Bill certainly and see what he thinks also. So we don't know when that'll be, but they said that they're ready when the conditions are.
Okay,
Very good.
so just move on to the next item.
Oh, I guess we should
Mhm.
continue it.
Oh, do we?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, I move we continue Triad Alpha Partners until 8 March at 7:30.
Second?
Dave will second.
All right. Oh, I seconded. Okay.
Sorry.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All unanimous.
Anyone opposed? Abstain? Hearing nothing.
Okay.
I did want to just double check because there are two people in the audience. Was
Oh.
anyone else here for a building or Board of Health permit that we kind of skipped, or were you guys on the hearing list?
They're on where are you? Number 5 under appointments
Okay.
and public hearings.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that we didn't skip anyone.
Is there
So number
is there anyone at Carnegie?
No.
Yes,
Kevin Shoemaker.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
But no other walk-ins. Okay, good.
all right, so number 2 on the agenda is the NOI filed by Nathan Booten for the proposed driveway culvert on Center Street, known as map 8A10 in the town of Granby. Anyone here for that? Did not think so. I make a motion that we continue to the next meeting.
Well, I think we should have some discussion. I'm gonna move that we actually abandon this and terminate this project for various reasons. Janice, why don't you tell the commission and the audience your attempts to contact the owner over the past month?
So I did contact him maybe 2 weeks ago before the agenda was done, told him that we really needed to hear from him. And then I sent him the agenda and told him that he should come or at least email us saying that he'd like to withdraw without prejudice. And then I did another one today. I also did one, at least one last month before the meeting. And I think, I think it was in January, yes, that the consultant had told me that the applicant had told him that he would come on to the meeting, and he didn't. So it doesn't seem like he's involved. I don't know what
Okay,
exactly to
okay.
do with
Now,
this.
Janice, you also talked to Brian Harrington, the counsel from DEP Western
Yeah.
Region. Why don't you brief us on that?
Okay, so what he said was that if you want it to be absolutely legal, you should wait for a full 2 years. But actually 2 years with lack of activity. Well, there was activity for the first several months. They filed in June of 2020, but it's been well over a year, I think, as far as I can tell. There was nothing when I did the annual report. They had not been in touch since at least January of 2021. So if you want to be absolutely legal, you should wait that long. But there are other things you could do. One of the things I saw was that you had done last year was for someone that was continually on the agenda and never showed up, you finally just warned them that they were no longer going to be on the agenda. And if they wanted to come back on, they were going to have to go through the legal notice, you know, in the paper and all that sort of thing again. But Bill, I think you had some other ideas about how to deal with this project.
Well, again, talking to some DEP staffers last year, again, lack of activity is a reasonable approach to terminating these projects. But that's news to me that Brian said there's actually a 2-year non-activity window.
If you want to be absolutely,
Yeah,
you know,
well,
legal
you
with
know,
it.
Is that in the regs?
we've let this thing drag on for what, 16, 17 months now, so we may as well wait another few months, I guess.
I guess so, although you could stop.
Janice, when you were doing your research, when was the last time he was here? My guess is it was April of last year. Is that correct?
I didn't see him as coming in or having any involvement for the whole year that I.
That might have been the April prior to that, Dave.
Of 2020?
Yes.
Oh.
I have an
okay.
idea.
But-
What if we figure out when the that 2-year mark is, if that is some legal thing, and
Mhm.
we can send him a letter that we are going to continue it until that date, at
Oh.
which time, if we have not heard from him, we will deny due to lack of evidence or lack of, you know, insufficient
Yeah.
information.
Activity, yeah.
Yeah, and inactivity.
I like that.
Yeah,
Then it stays on our agenda and it gives them a little more time to be reasonable since they have already filed.
okay, and I have a filing date from the DEP records of 6/11/2020 is when they started.
That was their begin date?
Yeah, it's probably
Oh.
submittal date, something like that,
Okay,
filing date.
okay. All right, well, let's continue. Let's just keep continuing it then. It doesn't take up that much ink on the paper.
Or you could
And again, we
continue
don't
it,
spend too much time discussing it.
you could
Right.
skip it for a few months and just continue it to whatever that nearest
Yeah, let's
date is in
continue
June.
till June, the meeting in
22.
June of 2022.
Yeah,
That'll at least
Yeah,
save
but
us a couple months.
But what happens if he comes in next month? That's the problem.
Well, that's his own fault. He should have been here.
Well, that's
He
the
has not
point.
given us an
That's my
update.
thought. My thought is if we just kill it now, whoever
Yeah.
buys the property, if he wants to start the property up, let him file anew and we'll start from scratch on this thing.
Uh-huh,
But we can't continue this till June because if the poor guy comes in March and
Oh.
and we say, oh, you got to wait till June, he'll say, what's up with that? So
that's true.
I mean,
I think we have
it's
to
not
let's just
unreasonable
continue
though.
it month over. Let's just go month over month until June, and then we'll take it off for good.
Okay, all
Okay.
right.
That makes more sense. That's good. Good discussion though.
Okay, and I will contact him again. All I
Yeah.
have is an email. I don't know if he looks at it or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
All right.
you're gonna
So
vote-
was that a motion?
Yeah, gonna need a motion.
So
I
yeah,
make a
I
motion
move
to
we
continue.
continue to 8 March, 7:30.
I'll second it.
Any more
Okay. Any
discussion?
further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone oppose? Abstain? Hearing and seeing none, on to the next item. Number 3, annual report for 2021. Has everyone had a chance to look that over?
Yeah,
Janice, did
I
you
did.
craft something?
I think
It
Janice
looks
did a
good.
good job.
I sent it out a while ago.
Yeah,
No.
I haven't. I'm so sorry. If you could put it on the screen, let's take a look at it. I know it keeps showing up in my email, and I just don't have time to look at this.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a peek.
Oh.
It looks familiar.
The first paragraph's exactly the same as always. The second one is
Okay, good,
basically
good.
the same. It just has, new numbers for, with public meetings, I didn't count each individual RDA. I counted each meeting, one a month, plus you had an extra one in June or July, whatever it
Okay,
was.
okay,
Um,
okay.
And
Sounds
from what
good.
I could get from the minutes, there was 28 site inspections. There might have been more, but those are the only ones I could easily document. So I just stuck with that.
Okay.
And the other thing I had a question about, I was just reading this in the minutes, but the conservation restriction for Munsing Ridge, do you guys remember that? Does that seem like the correct phraseology?
I believe so.
Okay, I know it was like it went to town council had to approve the wording, and then it came back and said, okay, now the Concom can sign. So I'm not.
It was a CR, yes, it was a CR,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
Yes.
All right.
Because Bill, you attended that meeting with the town council meeting.
I did,
I think that was I think that was May of this year, of
yes.
this past year.
All right, and I know about the Kestra one because we had to do one in Hadley as well, same kind of thing.
Mhm, mhm. That's fine, perfect.
And
Do we have to
then I
vote on
had
this?
Dave and Kevin. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right.
I've never seen an annual report before because this is my first year, but I think you did a very good job, Jan.
Thanks. It basically is it's pretty much the same as the previous years with a little change to the second and third paragraph.
Okay.
No, well done, Janice, thank you.
Do we need to vote on it at all, or are we good? I'm all for it. Should I make a motion?
Yeah, make a motion. We can cast it into stone and send it to Kathy, and they can put it in the annual report.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the annual report.
Dave Desalegn will second.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone abstain or deny? Hearing and seeing none. We'll move on to the next item on our list. Site visit determinations.
I don't
I'm
know
not sure.
exactly what that is.
Yeah, who put that on? That's a new item. What is that?
It's actually from our last one, and it had to do with site visits. And this time, the only site visit we had was the 190. Well, we had a couple site visits for sure. I can pull those out. And we can.
But they're associated with projects that we have some kind of
I got you.
work or
Okay.
whatever on.
Okay. Yeah, because the folks just came in from 8 to the rear West State Street. So you guys did a site visit on that project. So actually that's going to meld in on number 5.
Yeah.
Right. The site visit I was going to talk about, Janice, was 193 when we went and did the septic system inspection for the RCOC. If you remember, he asked us, he's a new owner for that property. He wants to use it as a farm. He's currently raising sheep and chickens and different things, and he's talking about all different things. But the fields that are associated with the farm have drainage ditches which keep the ground dry. Those drainage ditches have not been taken care of for years, and they're filling up with all sorts of growth, which is causing difficulties. They're now the water's expanding. So he was asking us, is it all right for him to clear those drainage ditches? He has a machine that could do that, And we said we really couldn't give him any direction at the site visit, that we would bring it to the attention of the Conservation Commission. And we actually recommended, I don't know if you contacted him about this, but we recommended he attend the meeting tonight so he could present this question firsthand.
You know, this is the age-old question about irrigation ditches. I think the old rule of thumb was, and Kevin, you remember this from the orchards, and Janice, you do too. The rule of thumb was, if it's hand tools, we don't give people grief. But as soon as you're bringing mechanized equipment out there, you got to be really careful, and you really should file for a permit. How do you guys feel about this?
Well, number one, Bill, they're not irrigation ditches, they're drainage ditches to keep the ground dry. So
Okay.
that's a different, that's like what La Flamme does on their fields, and evidently
But are these subsurface curtain drains, or are they open trenches?
they're open trenches. And blueberries, different different wetland species are growing in them now. So
Yeah, so I think that's going to get into the agricultural exemption stuff and whether or not the property currently qualifies and whether it could qualify. So
Mhm.
I think we would need more information on how it's been managed up until now and if they need to refile under an NOI to resume that agricultural maintenance of the land, because they can do things under
Yeah.
that ag exemption. But if it's like fallen out of agriculture or
Yeah.
like land and agriculture as they classify it, then they can't do that work until
Well,
they.
I think it from what we could understand, what we could see and understand, at least the last owner, and if not the last couple owners, have not been using the farm as a farm. So he is using it as a farm, and he's haying the fields and different things. And these ditches are overgrown. And this past summer, when we had so much rain, he had a hard time getting across these things, of course, because they haven't been maintained. So
they usually give you a 5-year grace period on those things only. That's the problem.
Well, and that's only if they are U.S. like under the U.S. Ag program or something. Like they have to be part of some federal thing or state thing.
I think it's just they have to have at least $500 worth of agricultural sales or profit or whatever sales in a year, and he said he would meet that between the different things. They sell, is it lamb, I think, as well as eggs, and I don't know, there are a bunch of different things that they're doing.
But it's different if it's been maintained as farm since before the Wetlands Protection Act versus if it hasn't and now it's going to farm. It's just so you all know, MACC has their farm exemption bylaw, or whatever. The exemption training is coming up in March. So if we just table this until next month, we can go get all our answers.
From a practical perspective, guys, Janice, when you were in South Hadley, did you not allow folks to clear out ditches with hand tools at their leisure?
Yes, and Hadley too, as long as it was no deeper and no wider than the original. And if we weren't sure, if there were some difficult cases, the farmer actually would have someone out there with some kind of a laser thing to make sure that it, was done properly. But most of the time,
my guess he'll probably have some multiflora or some staghorn sumac or some other nasty in or around that ditch, and I suspect he'll want to pull that out or cut that out with hand tools.
Yeah. Well, I guess how do we do we recommend that he actually? We told him to show up, but he didn't, obviously. So should he show up at the next meeting?
I would recommend that. Yes, I think it would be a great idea. We can have a roundtable discussion with him. Yes.
Okay.
Janice, could you reach out to him and say we talked about the project that he wants to do, and now he does need to attend a meeting.
Okay. Yep.
Is it still what's their name, Janice?
Excuse me? What?
What is the individual's name?
Zamonic. John.
John Simonek.
Okay.
And
think
they just moved into the property in the summer of 20, like June or July of 2020.
Okay.
So
All
this
right,
is,
thank you, guys.
and the continuation thing that Amanda's touching on, we don't know, and I bet he doesn't know if it was used as a farm. From driving by the place, it didn't look like it was an active farm
Yeah.
for more than 5 years. So
Yeah, okay.
Uh-huh.
And it would
Okay.
be good for him to have he can create a kind of like farm management plan that basically using best management practices. So instead of being like, oh, you've been doing this for 800 years, you can keep doing it. Okay, 800, that's
Yeah.
an exaggeration.
Well,
But
let me
you know what I mean,
turn
like-
this over to Kevin's here. Kevin, are you here? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Kevin? Yeah.
Yes.
Kev, when you were, before you left the orchards, did you guys not get a ditch maintenance permit from South Hadley?
From what I remember, just like you said, no one gave us a hard time if it was hand tools. And, we weren't making it deeper or wider. We were just clearing the obstruction to maintain the flow.
Okay.
But that's
Yeah,
not
I think that's a
agriculture.
very reasonable approach, I think.
But that's different than removing wetland vegetation from a wetland system that's been ditched. So like it's not really regulatory to just give people blanket immunity like that. That's dredge fill. That's like
Well,
401
I
stuff
think
where you have to start calculating your impact.
the argument you would use is it's de minimis. It's so small in quantity that it's immaterial essentially. And with hand tools, I suspect that would be the case, but you would never ever allow a backhoe in there without a permit.
yeah, and
But
he
again,
does
that's my personal theory on this. Because
at
the
least
point
that's
is-
why having him attend, Bill, I think is important because
Oh, no, you got to do that, Dave. Because
He
listen,
did.
if we try to put the clamps on anyone that's going to go in their backyard with a shovel and a rake and try to clear out their ditch of leaves or whatever,
right.
everyone's going to violate that. That's unenforceable. We have to recognize there's certain things we can enforce. There's certain things we can't. And that's one we really can't enforce.
The point I wanted to clarify, though, we did cover that subject, and he pointed to, and I don't know the model number, but he pointed to a large John Deere tractor with a bucket loader on it. So your comment about the backhoe, he wasn't proposing, these are long ditches, big ditches, and he wasn't proposing to do hand shoveling. He told us he would use the bucket loader to clear these ditches.
Well,
So,
And
that's
there's
can't do
vegetation.
that. He's going to have to file for a dredging permit then. That's ridiculous. Yeah.
I don't know.
And
I
I
think
have an exemption.
agriculture, whether he fits under the agriculture category.
Yeah, if we can get him back into that program with a plan, I don't think he would need that.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
Janice,
Okay,
could you research, maybe Janice or Amanda, could you guys
Yeah.
research that section of the code for next meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
am also going to the MICC training on it.
Oh, you
Good.
are? Good.
Yeah.
Well, pose that question to folks.
Oh, I was going to, just
Yeah.
so I know like how it works to get people.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
previously I was told they had to be pre-existing wetlands, but then someone else, that was from Mark Stinson. Someone
Uh-huh.
else then told me, Alicia Galen actually, said that it's not only existing farm fields or like, historic farms that have been in use. New
Uh-huh.
farms also can qualify for the exemptions.
Yeah, you just
Oh.
have to file first.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's why I'm thinking that as long as we make sure we do it all properly, like I'm sure he's fine to be in that program. I just don't know if he currently
Yeah.
qualifies.
In
Okay.
in
Like, I mean,
Hadley, in Hadley, where we have lots and lots of ditches, and a lot of them were formerly streams that were straightened, but a long time ago. The commission, with some trepidation, but we did it because it really needed to be done, allowed under request for determination for the DPW to go in with a small backhoe, one of those mini sort of things, and clean out the ditches that crossed agricultural land where it was more than one owner, so neither owner, could officially do it. And we got that through, and DEP did not reject it. But we had them do measurements on how deep the muck was in different areas, regularly sampled spots, and so that they knew how deep they could go and not any deeper with cleaning them out. And it was across the town, a number of different sites, I think maybe 8 different systems. So,
Okay.
Wow.
So please, Janice, round that person up, round Mr. Zamanek up for our next meeting. I think that's
Okay.
important.
and
Thank
I
you.
think the idea of a farm management plan is a good idea too.
Great.
Do they have it in
Wonderful.
that manual for farming in wetland resource
Probably.
areas?
I have that manual somewhere, or it's in the
Yeah, I
office.
read it very thoroughly last year for some other projects.
Yep.
So I just remember there were a bunch of different things that kind of to help educate the farmers about how to use best management practices to reduce some of the negative impacts. But they also acknowledge that maintenance is not always pretty. It
Yeah.
often is just necessary. So like there is some, stuff that is not preferred, but it is exempt because of the agriculture stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
I think one
But
of the
did you
reasons
talk to
where,
DEP?
I think one of the reasons he wants to be proactive about this, since he has bought the farm, he's done a number of things, and he's been shocked. He's from South Hadley, by the way. He's been shocked how many people stop and talk to him about what are you doing to this place? So and I told him, when you bought this farm, you actually bought a piece of Granby. So there's a lot of.
I hope the folks are commending him for what he's doing to the place.
Well, he did say that, but he's afraid of starting any ditch clearing without having Conservation Commission, and he was asking
if he does ditch clearing, if he goes in there with a machine, Kathy will be getting a phone call every half hour for the next month.
Well, that's what he's afraid of. So I think having him attend this meeting is the right direction.
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good choice.
That's the only, Janice, I don't know if you wanted to add anything, but that's the only site comment that I had.
I think that's good because we'll cover the rest under the next item.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Amanda.
All right, next item. Site plan reviews for the planning board, 39 West State Street. Start there.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, 39 West State, from what I understand, it's AJ's Auto Repair. And I've talked to Greg Briggs, the building inspector, several times about this. And he's confirmed each time that this project, Amanda's going to call it up. It's interior work only within the building. That's my understanding.
Okay.
That's right.
Now, you'll notice that there's plenty of paved area and plenty of gravel parking around the building. And I believe there's plenty of it within the riverfront area.
Well, it's not riverfront, but it is.
That isn't?
No.
Oh, that stream is intermittent then. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't. Okay, all right, good.
Are you sure?
I checked on that map before and checked. Changed.
Did you do
topo.
stream stats?
No.
Yeah,
the major branch of Stony Brook, of course, is Perennial. But
it's a branch of Stony Brook. It's not Stony Brook.
No, I understand, but that doesn't mean that it's not perennial. It's perennial if it drains over a half acre.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And it has certain types of soils.
I'll be back in one moment.
Where are we going?
Around the world. Around the country.
So
I
is that
haven't seen this Stream Stats program.
Amanda
Oh,
knows
it's like my
everything.
best friend.
Ah, it used to be absolutely horrible to try to do, but it looks like it's been automated to some degree, make it much better.
Yeah, it's not always that great, especially when you work in places where there are lots of ditch streams that are considered drainage at this point.
Oh, wow. That's a big area.
Yeah, that was why I had a feeling that it went a lot farther north, but again, I can't really judge what area that is.
You mean you mean the size of it, Amanda?
Yeah, I can't tell you how many acres that is.
No.
I mean, it could
What
be a
was
bunch
it?
of acres or it could be less than an acre. I have no idea.
Oh, no, it's more than
It's calculating.
it's more than a bunch of acres, that's for sure. It's not an acre, that's for sure. Because that goes all the way past, where are we, State? Pleasant.
Alrighty. Oh, 0.69. Oh, square miles. My bad, not acres. Misspoke. So as
So
long
it's
as it's
supposed to be-
a half a square mile, it becomes perennial, or it's considered perennial.
Are you I'm trying to,
We're just over it then, I guess.
but
Yeah, that's fine.
I thought it still had to be on the USGS topo as perennial, and stream stats were
That's
only
one
used-
condition.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a number of things, but if it drains that much, then it qualifies.
But it also has to have, and I assume it would, sand and gravel soils and some other sorts of stuff like that. Right? I mean, I seem
I'm
to
not
remember
sure. I
something.
haven't had
But
to use that before.
let's see. I just thought there was something about stream stats could only be used one way. Either you can only show that the stream is perennial or isn't, and I can't remember which way it is.
Well, either way, this particular project we're talking about is an interior project only. They're not doing any work on
Yeah,
the
so
exterior.
it's a moot point if they're inside.
Okay.
So
Right.
we're not involved, I think.
Okay.
And from
As
the
far as I
and from the
understand,
last,
yes,
and
they
from
are
the
not
last,
involved.
by the way, we spoke about this at the last meeting, and we said there was no action required by the commission. So it technically shouldn't be on the agenda for this meeting.
Oh, then why is it on the agenda?
I think the reason it's on the agenda is because she just cut and paste, and the 468 West 8th Street, which are the gentlemen in the room waiting to be heard, they were
Okay.
they're part of this. So I think we should be, and it's technically not 8, it's 4 and 6 we should be talking about.
Isn't it the back of 8 as well? Or we can figure that out in a minute.
No,
But
well, 8 isn't even on the it's the parcel along the street, and this is the estate lot that's behind it, which is 4 and 6. That's why we got confused last time. We were looking at 8,
yeah.
and we didn't know why we were there.
And I'm thinking that maybe AJ's wasn't, the building inspector wasn't told to sign off on AJ's because we still had a question about it, or we just didn't get to it. I don't know which way it was. But I guess, so we should be able to, or Bill can talk to Greg Briggs and tell him that it's okay if it's all interior work for AJ's, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay. So then we can go on to finally the other one.
Yes.
Yes.
So
413 dumpster's been sitting patiently.
I know.
Evening.
And
Good
you haven't
evening.
fallen asleep yet.
Yeah, close. Bill's back.
Okay, very good, folks. Hello.
So Mark, can you just start out, or Alex, and just explain, okay, which lot numbers is it? Because I'm still confused with all the different ways we're describing it.
Correct. In the town's records, it refers to this piece of property as both 4, 6, and the rear of 8 West
Okay.
State Street. So that it's very confusing because of that terminology. People don't see that it says the rear of 8 West
Okay.
State Street. It used to be on contiguous properties, and since I'm not sure exactly the date, I forget what the date was, the front lot has been sold off and has a metal building on it.
Okay.
So we're really dealing with, like Dave said, it's a flag, considered a flag lot. It has a access drive that comes in off of West State Street and then opens up to the property behind the existing building on 8th Street. Right.
Okay. Mark, was Bill Harrop the original owner of the parent
Yeah.
parcel?
He still is, and his two brothers.
Okay.
So
So
41.
it's behind Ed Oz's metal building then?
Correct.
Okay. All right,
Correct.
I got you.
Right.
Very good.
So 401 Dumpster, Alex and his father have a purchase and sale agreement to purchase the property and want to relocate their business here. We are before the planning board for a site plan review. And we wanted to reach out to the Conservation Commission to ensure that we were not within your jurisdiction. So the plans that we provided to you show that to the north, there are wetlands and a perennial stream, Stony Brook.
Okay.
And that from the wetlands, which are located on the Ingram's property, the proposed gravel area, which is behind the Oz property, is 125 feet from the wetlands to the north, and is about 240 feet away from Stony Brook. So yesterday, Janice and Dave and Alex and I had a site visit. We went out, took a look at the property. I believe Janice can speak to herself and Dave, but agree that the dimensions to the wetlands and the Stony Brook is correct, that we're technically outside of your jurisdiction for that from the north end of it. We have shown on the plan a silt fence to ensure, even though we're further away, that we protect any of that area that goes to the north. I guess it's north and to the east.
Right.
Looking at it for the property. Secondarily, in that first map you had up there, Amanda, we looked on the opposite side of the roadway because there are some isolated wetland areas. And with all the rain that we've had, there are some additional areas that are ponding water with all the rain that we have. And so we measured from the closest isolated wetland area on the south side of the property, which is on the other side of the driveway that accesses the property, of 55 feet. Isolated areas don't have a buffer zone associated with it.
Unless they're a vernal pool.
Unless they're a vernal pool, correct. But
which there is one certified vernal pool and various potential vernal pools on that site.
Correct, but not in the
I also
area.
don't know if it actually is isolated.
Right.
Well, there's a certified vernal pool, Amanda?
There is a certified one on site, right?
Could you point toward it on the sketch?
It's on the blue.
I'm trying.
Okay.
Right.
Can you see my mouse?
That's a cert, okay.
Right.
Okay.
But that's
Who's
not
certified. I'm just curious, what agency certified that?
Natural Heritage. What do you mean?
No, but they have to have the
be the ones to
permission.
approve
They have to
it.
have the permission of the landowner to certify them.
Oh, well, no, I know, but the person who certified, or the organization that does the certification, like approves it, is Natural Heritage. I don't know who went and delineated it. I don't know.
But Janice, is it not true that in order for someone to certify a vernal pool on your property, you have to give somebody permission to do that?
Well, not really. That's what Natural Heritage recommends or requires or whatever, but they don't toss your application away if you don't say that you've had permission. At least that's the way it used to be, that they'd say that you
Still
should
is.
get permission.
Yes.
So that vernal,
Again, I'm just playing devil's advocate on that. So that means somebody trespassed onto 2 West State Street to certify that vernal pool, likely without the permission of the landowner.
I have no
And
idea.
Is that a vernal pool or is it just a potential vernal pool on the
No,
natural
there's a
heritage?
bunch of potential. This one's certified.
Okay, all right.
That's what I'm
Now,
trying
do
to
you
say.
have do you have the certification data sheet so we can look at that?
I mean, I don't like this new tool. It's not
I don't
good.
like it either, yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
have a
the new
horrible
mass
time with it.
mapper. Yeah, mass mapper's a pain in the fanny.
So,
as I'm concerned.
what is,
It was certified in 2010.
what's
That's all
the
I've got.
protected
Wow.
buffer for a certified vernal pool? I didn't know if there was one.
100 feet.
All right,
Is that
well,
right?
Yeah.
Okay, no, where would that be? Is
It's
that
the
on-
same as any buffer, but it's from the delineated edge.
right?
So without a
Okay.
delineation of that vernal pool, we don't actually know where the edge is.
Oh, okay.
all right. So assuming that certified vernal pool was done appropriately, how does that affect these folks?
We feel
I mean,
that
it's
it's well,
legal. If it's certified, it's legal.
so looking
No,
at
but
that.
I mean, it does not stall this project, does it? Or does it stall the project?
I don't think anything really stalls the project. We're just,
Okay.
I don't know, reviewing.
Right,
All right.
I think that vernal pool is well outside of 100-foot area from the proposed gravel area, parking area, Bill.
Okay.
It is quite some distance. We measured 55 feet from an
Yeah.
area that is flooded with all the different rains that we've had. We are looking further into the property. And
So the next
it's quite a
question.
distance. It's
Yeah,
quite a
okay, well,
distance away from-
the next question that this fits into then is, Alex, so you're gonna assert that you're not gonna be washing any dumpster boxes on this property?
Absolutely. So just for the record, it's myself, Alex Benchik, and my father, Walter Benchik. He's also dialed in. So both of us are here. We're both representing Fall Into Dumpster. And just want to state that I'm very happy to be involved here and appreciate you guys taking the time to get this out.
Well, thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah, of course. No, thanks for having us. And that is correct. We've actually never, ever have even once washed a dumpster. It's just not something that we do. And any truck maintenance is always done inside of a garage.
Now, let me do a theoretical. So say you bring your dumpster to a client and your client throws, well, I'm not going to say a hazardous material, but just say some wastewater sludge or some cow manure or some farming manure in the dumpster, and then you bring it back to the facility to store, and then it starts becoming very odoriferous, if you will. It starts smelling. What are you going to do in that situation?
Yeah, Bill, no, it's a good point you bring up. To date, it hasn't happened. We have a very strong bulletproof contract that every single one of our renters has to sign. Part of that contract does say that if there is anything like that ruins a dumpster or requires dumpster cleaning, we're authorized to take it to a third-party location so they can be cleaned there and sanitized. New England Eco Wash specifically does container washing and oil.
Okay.
Oh, good.
That's true.
That's good to know, because again, with the certified vernal pool, it kind of mandates we have to really watch the surface waters flowing on the site. We don't, again, want anything getting into that pool, which probably is carrying salamanders and other amphibians. So I'm glad you answered that question, Alex. Thank you.
And Bill, one more point too. If we're made aware ahead of time that a customer is going to have anything like you mentioned, or you can do a lot of what ifs, but anything similar to what you mentioned, we are able to line the dumpster with a plastic liner. It's just simply called a liner. And when we deliver it, we're able to set that up ahead of time. So when we dispose of it, everything inside the dumpster as well as the liner is disposed with the trash and, of course, approved messages.
Okay. And I'm just curious, which landfills do you typically use for disposing refuse?
Landfill is no longer anymore. If we do use a landfill, it's for anything specialty, and that's designated by the Massachusetts DEP, and that would be in Manchester, Connecticut. But everything local, if you were to rent the dumpster, everything local is disposed of out of 4 locations: Republic in Springfield on Rose Street, USA Western Recycling in Wilbraham, Casella on Main Street, Holyoke, and K&W Transfer Station in West Springfield.
Okay. Oh, so you go to transfer stations only. You don't go to landfills. Oh, okay. See, I used to do some landfill engineering, and that was 20 years ago. And of course, most of your local land has the Chicopee landfill, is that closed now?
It's closed. I would love to talk to you someday to get your stories about it, because it's fascinating stuff. But everything landfill,
Yeah.
the only one that
Not to get off into a tangent, but I did a double liner design for the old BFI landfill on what is it, Burnett Road in Chicopee years ago.
by the park.
Yeah, across from Williams Distributing. Yeah, that facility. Yeah. Great fun.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Again, any other commissioners have any comments for Alex and Mark?
Dave Desolé does not.
Kevin?
No comments.
Okay. Amanda?
I mean, I'm curious. There isn't a delineation, so it's not like what's the date of the delineation. But I guess, Dave and Janice, since you were on site, you're confident that the area is outside? Okay.
Yes, we looked carefully first at the Stony Brook side and where they were counting the start of wetland for a buffer zone, and also how far in the actual stream bed bank was. And then on the other side, it was actually fairly good conditions with the ponding from the recent rain and then freezing. So you can see where the flooded areas were, but there wasn't enough snow to keep you from seeing the topography. And it was areas where there'd be low areas, but they were isolated, and then there'd be clearly upland, higher upland around it and forested, and then there'd be another low area. So we didn't see any connections between those smaller ponded areas. In the front, heading towards the street, there's a long one that runs along the access drive, but that was also far enough away that it was out of consideration too. So we did look over there, but I thought maybe if all the wetlands joined, it would be large enough that it'd still be isolated land subject to flooding, which means no buffer zone. But they seem to be mostly several different isolated wetlands in that forested area over there. So yeah, it seemed like where they were doing their work, which is limited work anyway, it's basically just putting gravel down, but there is a little bit of grading first, where I guess Mark said what you were putting in some trap rock and then gravel on top of it. Is that right?
Correct. And just one other thing I just wanted to mention is the topography flows to the north. So the abutting piece that the Roberts own to the south is at a higher elevation than the site itself.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So if you look at the topo plan, we did topography on it, Bill. It's 227 along the woods line.
I saw that, Mark.
And as you go towards the Ingram's property, it drops down to.
Okay, all right. So water's not going to flow uphill. So actually, those vernal pools are not in peril under any circumstances. Okay.
Correct.
Hey, I'm curious. So who owns 2 West Straight Street? The Roberts family?
The Roberts, yeah.
Yeah. Janice, could you do me a favor? Could you contact the Roberts and see if they authorize this vernal pool certification? I'm just curious to the mechanics of that.
And open a hornet's nest. Yes. Okay.
Well, no, I'm serious, because I really don't. I got some issues with that whole process. But would you be kind enough to call these people and talk to them?
Yep. I have to tell you that my master's thesis was on vernal pool certification. I just, you know.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well. All right. Well.
But I will ask them.
There's always a PhD to pursue. Okay. Great fun.
The other thing that we're.
If you could call them up, I'm just so curious as to whole philosophy of how that was done without their knowledge. If not, maybe they'll say, "Oh yes, we invited them in 2010, no problem."
Right. The other thing
thank you.
Right. The other thing that we'd like to request tonight is that we're meeting with the planning board on the 14th. And hopefully they'll approve. This was one of the last items that they were asking for, is that if you could, or Janice could send an email with your opinion, or decision, or relative to the site, we would really appreciate it. This will be our third planning board meeting, and we're trying to resolve the property so they can purchase it.
Only 3, it usually takes a half dozen.
Yeah, right.
So Bill, you can do that.
Yeah. So what I would recommend then is we're not going to require a permit of any kind, I trust. However, I think we'd like to put in the record that there shall be no dumpster washing on the premises and no expansion of paved area. If you go for, if you're going to use bituminous or concrete pavement, then you're going to have to do stormwater management, Mark.
Yes,
you realize that,
we
of
understand
course.
that.
Yeah, and then you're going to have to go for a permit, and they're going to have to do stormwater stuff. So
Correct.
the big concern I have is the dumpster washing at this point, and or storage of waste products on the site, which I guess you guys won't do that either, Alex, correct?
According to Massachusetts, we follow all Mass DEP and EPA regulations. Allow for any ground storage. What they do allow for is for 24 hours, and it's kept physically on the truck. That being said, we don't do that. We're not in the practice of doing that. We follow all Mass regulations.
Okay, so I'm going to recommend that our commission approve subject to those 2 conditions. And if Janice would be, we'll take a vote, of course. And if this passes, I'll have Janice write something up and send it along. And you can go see Mr. Tromke and his group next week, and you should be in pretty good shape. Okay, any other comments from any of our team?
No, I don't
I mean,
have any.
I would say, oh, sorry, Dave.
No, go ahead, Amanda. I just said I have no further comments, that's all.
Oh, mine was more of a personal comment. Don't be afraid of pavement, because stormwater management is great. And gravel can easily erode and wash into wetlands. So I wouldn't say avoid it forever if an opportunity comes and you guys want to do expansion and permitting stuff. But that's more of just a side note. Other than that, I think it all looks good. Current plan.
Thank you so much.
Very good, guys. Okay, so we ready to do a motion here, folks?
Yep.
Okay, so I move we approve this project with no permit required, subject to 2 conditions. One is no washing of mechanical structures, i.e. dumpsters, on site. And number 2 is no storage of waste products in the dumpsters on the site.
Second.
Okay. All right. Ready for a vote or discussion?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Any discussion?
any other comments?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone oppose or abstain? Hearing and seeing none. All right, great. You guys are all set. And Bill, you are going to be emailing them, or the selectmen?
Or I will. I guess I'll write something up. I'll
Yeah,
check it
Janice
by
will
Bill,
write something.
and
She'll
then
write something.
get it to the planning board. And I always CC Kathy on it too.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank
All
you,
right,
guys. Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Have you in town, Alex. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Thanks, Mark.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks for waiting.
Alrighty.
let's-
Next item,
This one really count.
we are up to the request for a COC for 165-48 and 165-85 for Phillips Circle.
All right, this is a history lesson. Professor Stone will give us a history lesson on these 2 projects.
Yeah, what is
All
this?
right. I don't have my notes right in front of me but they're both from the 1980s. I don't remember the exact date. Do you, Bill, on them?
I think circa one was 1985. Dave, that was the original Hallahan subdivision that you might recall.
Okay.
And then the second was done under, the first one was Phil Hallahan, I guess personally. And then the second was Hallahan Builders, Inc., 1988, which I think was an addition. I think it was the Phillips Circle addition off of the Jennifer Drive. But
Yeah.
these are the subdivision roads which lie between South Street and Pleasant Street.
So what we discovered when the attorney contacted us about this is that actually the 16548 was a superseding order by the DEP. So we don't have to deal with them, and they have submitted their request for certificate of compliance to DEP instead. And I did talk to DEP, to Brian Harrington, and he had someone go downstairs in the basement or something of DEP, and they did find the file, the plans, everything for
Wow.
that. So that's pretty incredible. So I'm really glad for that, because with that one, there were quite a few things about conservation easements that was supposed to be to the benefit of the town that followed the wetland boundaries. So, and it's supposed to be on every deed that this is an easement, and you're supposed to, stay out of it or whatever, and things like that. So most of that heavy language is in that DEP superseding order. The 16585 is really just that particular lot and house. So, and that I could not find a copy of the plan for, but the conditions for the most part is, putting up the sign, erosion and sediment control and stuff like that. I told the attorney's office that I would check with you guys to see if you wanted a site visit before issuing a certificate of compliance on it. So I don't know what you normally do or want to do. So I thought I would check with you guys and see what you think.
Here's a question. Are DEP going to scan and digitize that -48 plan set and send it to us electronically, or are we not going to ever see it?
I don't know. I did find, and the attorney also sent me the copy of the map recorded at the Registry of Deeds. But it's just that, it's just a PDF from the registry.
We do have copies in the basement at Carnegie Hall.
I have
Oh.
looked. Oh, maybe are they in the
Really?
rolls?
I found them before, because I
Okay.
remember trying to figure out, I was like, this is not recorded anywhere, but it's on the plan that this is supposed to be a conservation easement,
Yes, right.
a perpetual condition.
I went through all the file cabinets upstairs and downstairs.
Oh, no, it wouldn't be in the file cabinets, Janice. It turns
Oh.
out the bigger projects are roll-ups. They're 36 by 24 or 36 by 48 plans, which are rolled up and stuck in a cardboard box.
Okay, I did look at the cardboard box roll plans upstairs. I didn't notice any downstairs that were ours and not planning boards, but I didn't look.
No, some of them downstairs are ours.
Okay.
Most of them are plantings, but some of our stuff's down there as well.
Okay. I'll check with that. So
Okay.
what do you think? Do you want me to do, to arrange a site visit just to, sort of like we're doing with Carter Street, basically we just follow
Do
a
we
certain
know,
protocol.
this, Janice, do we know the site that the particular lot that we're
Yes.
looking at here?
Yes, yep. It's lot 21 under the development plan.
That's Nick Bernier, correct?
Yes, yep.
Yeah, as I don't think Amanda might recall, we had a
Oh, I
enforcement
recall.
against Nick. Yeah, Nick had a
That's why I
enforcement.
found that old document.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we had him go, he had to hire, Al Weiss went in there and we did some soil cores and some hydric soil stuff. For the most part, he's complied. I think he may have slid back a little bit. For the most part, he's complied. Only thing I do request, if we do a COC, if we do a sign off on the project, in the byline on the sign off, put down under no circumstances shall the new owner do any work beyond that established wetland line. So we have to, it's important that we set the precedent on this, because as future homes get sold in that subdivision, they're all going to carry the exact same language.
So that's why, I mean, since I haven't seen it, I would like to be able to see this. It's an opportunity to see
Of course.
what it looks
of
like
course.
now before they get a
We
new
should
owner.
definitely do
and
a site
stuff.
visit.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I have some photographs from 3 or 4 years ago in my files that I can share with the group as well sometime.
Okay.
Yeah,
It
because he had
probably
been bringing in fill and increasing his lawn into the wetland. He also cleared the understory of the forested wetland, and he built up the banks of the stream so that it no longer would overflow onto his property. So now it's like got these humps on the side, and it's
Oh.
heavily landscaped.
Oh, wow.
He did a lot of stuff.
He's a contractor. He's a contractor.
Sounds pretty.
And that's where I think it'll depend on what DEP does, because they're the ones that have all those conditions written into their orders.
Right.
And whether they'll just write them off or whether they'll say, okay, show us that, people are following this, or that you've notified people that they're supposed to follow this. I mean, I don't know what they'll do.
You know, the big condition, I think it was number 12 or number 16, it called for full monumentation of wetlands
Yes.
at the closeout of construction back in the 80s. That was apparent. It was either never done or it was done and all the monuments have been removed.
Yeah.
But I think trying to reestablish those monuments would be,
Yes.
no pun intended, a monumental task.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So we have to think twice about if we're even going to go there. So when we do the site visit, we can discuss that.
And that falls under the DEP's order of conditions and certificate of compliance.
Okay, under 48 then. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, why was there superseding? Was it originally denied?
I guess so. I don't
Oh,
know.
wow. Wow.
I couldn't find. All I could
Oftentimes,
find was the
DEP
notice of
will
intent.
supersede.
What?
Sorry.
No, go
I
ahead.
was going to say, oftentimes DEP will supersede if the commission does not adequately address all of the standards of the Wetlands Protection Act.
Mm-hmm.
They'll address our shortcomings as well as our, poor decision making or like biased decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, enough said. So why don't we schedule a site visit?
Okay. Okay. I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll talk to you guys and see what works. It'll probably be a
find out when
Saturday.
everyone's available. Yeah,
Okay.
that would be a good Saturday morning visit for everybody.
I think,
Okay.
I mean, right now we're in winter, Bill and Janice. Should we wait until springtime?
Well,
Or-
they want to get their certificate of compliance.
No,
done
they got a
before-
purchase and sale pending, Dave. The guy wants to move out of the house. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, Nick
All right.
Nick bought a house
best we
somewhere
can.
else.
You know,
All right.
just we'll see what we can figure out. That's all.
okay.
Maybe there'll be no snow by then. We got enough warm weather. Who knows? Or how
I didn't-
4 feet.
I didn't,
Yeah,
I
did
didn't hear
the
the
ground
desire
salt-
was to sell the property, so.
Did Puxatawny Phil see his shadow or did he not see his shadow?
Saw his shadow. We got 6 more weeks of
Oh,
winter.
boy. Oh,
So,
Okay.
okay, Amanda.
Alrighty, so next item is Eversource, field change regarding relocation of the National Grid utility pole.
Okay.
Anyone?
It doesn't look like anyone's here. It was Simon Hill who turned it in. It's not actually a filing. I think they spoke first with Bill and then with me. There's somewhere I have this written up. There was a small change that they were going to make right where at the substation where they're going to be taking out a bunch of poles and putting in several more poles, and Eversource filed that request for determination that was in the minutes for December. And
yeah.
we approved that. It's in exactly that same area. One of those poles is actually a National Grid pole. So technically, they do not have permission to remove that pole and as part of this whole process of putting in the new poles. So Eversource agreed to sort of, on behalf of National Grid, ask the commission if they would accept that pole removal under their determination. It's in an area that's already being permitted, anyway, but technically we didn't have National Grid involved.
So basically, do we still want them to do or allow them to do the work, even though new information came to light that just changes property ownership?
I think it's not even property ownership, it's pole ownership.
Well, yeah,
Um,
no, I know, but I meant the
yeah.
pole as a piece of property.
I think they just,
is it
when
still
something
property?
in their plans, it said, an existing wood utility pole belonging to National Grid will need to be shifted closer to the substation to avoid violating clearance restrictions for Eversource's transmission line. So it's the same plan that we saw for Eversource, but they're going to have to move the one pole, the wooden pole of National Grid's. It didn't say right here, but it wasn't that long a distance, and it's all within the area that we already agreed to allow the work in, and they'll have erosion and sediment control as required under the determination as well. So we thought that maybe we'd be able to get it through as just, I guess you might call it a minor amendment or something to the determination, which had just been issued.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. I think that's fine.
Everyone else okay with that?
I am.
How about you, Kevin?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay. And Bill, you were okay with it, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's very reasonable.
Okay. Do you think we need to vote on that? I suppose it would be good to accept
Documented.
a minor amendment or whatever to the determination.
Yeah. I make a motion that we accept the field change regarding the location of the National Grid's utility pole.
I will second Amanda's motion.
All right. Any further discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, I'm gonna abstain on this one because I do some technical consulting for National Grid, so I'm gonna recuse myself on this.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Anyone deny or other abstentions? Nope. Hearing and seeing none. All right, great.
Whew.
Okay.
So back to administrative duties. Do we want to do the next minutes?
Yeah, let's do the next minutes.
Yeah.
Janice, have you sent everyone? Do we have Janice's invoices?
Yes, you should.
Yes, we do.
Because we're gonna put that up on the screen. We have to formally vote for the exact amount of money. Otherwise, town hall won't pay for that.
Okay.
And we want to just streamline this.
Well,
So
we're gonna do the minutes first though, right?
yeah, do the minutes and we'll do Janice's payment. Okay, great. And I'll be right back.
Amanda, were you gonna put them up or what?
Oh, I can. I was trying to pull up the
Bills?
receipts. Yeah. Just so I have the amounts and everything in front of me.
Yeah. This is Dave talking here. Bill had given me a comment on page 4. When you get to 8 West Street, it's actually meaning 8 West State Street.
Ah,
And I didn't catch that, so Bill had gotten that. So I'll update that, but that's the only comment I have.
what was that, page 4?
It's on page 4.
Okay.
And it's referring, it shows up as 8 West Street. We've had projects on West Street. That's the confusion, but this is referring to the OSLA. So it's actually West State Street.
Good.
course, I have the commentary, I have the little summary of the Taylor Street project. That's item 10.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Gary Toth, what's up with that project?
Haven't
Oh,
heard from him.
That's a good
It's
point.
81 Pleasant.
That's right.
I don't know.
Now, did he get his building permit bill? Do you know?
I don't know. What didn't we say you had to file an RDA?
That's right. Amanda and I had a meeting with him last April, and that's when we verbally told him he really needed to file.
Well, he
my
did file an RDA for the demolition,
Yes.
for the demolition, but I
but he
think we were
needs,
looking for something else, weren't we, Amanda?
yes, we requested, it says it right here. We requested that he submit an NOI.
Okay, because he's expanding his footprint.
Yes.
Yes, the building is
Okay.
bigger.
All right, so let's keep our ears to the ground for that one. Okay.
Okay.
Boy, see
And
now
like
30.
stormwater and stuff.
Yeah. 39 West State Street, that's AJ's once again. And again, it says, as intended work proposed by project only includes infill of vacant portions of the building. Okay, that's fine then.
Okay.
Right.
Oh yeah, I had forgotten that they had a petroleum release there, so that they're gonna do
Yeah.
some cleanup. And of course, the typo on part C, that's fine.
Yep. I
That's
caught
fine.
that.
Very good. Yep. Number 1A, Dave, good commentary again, doing site visits in the winter, especially the gravel pits. Makes
Yeah.
good sense.
Also, the minutes are fabulous.
Yes.
Just
Dave,
want to
Dave,
call that out.
first class
Thank you,
job.
Amanda. Thank you, Amanda.
It's nice to have like a really thorough documented record of things. Because it's so easy to forget.
Well, the challenge, of course, is don't write too much, but write enough.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, you don't
Yes.
want to, if you overwrite and it ends up in court, that could work against us.
That's right.
But I think the key is, and I think Dave does what I used to try to do, is you write the minutes the day after the meeting.
Yeah, as close as possible.
Yeah, you don't let them linger.
24 to 48 hours. That's what you want to do.
That's right. Okay,
Well,
I'm good.
Yeah, we know
I
Dave's
make a
not going to
motion.
bed tonight till those minutes are done.
Yeah, I know.
Right, that's right, Kevin.
Pulled an all-nighter.
Right.
And Bill reviews them the next day for me.
Yeah, well, sometimes. I think everyone else does too. Thank you.
All right, I make a motion to approve the minutes with the adjustment of that one item of adding State Street instead of just
Yep.
street.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, second.
Right, any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
right.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Abstain? Hearing and seeing none. We will get on to our next item, bills to pay.
Okay,
So-
yeah, let's go over these and we'll call them out to the cent, just to be official here.
And I've had some screwy things. I don't think I've gotten paid for all my Verizon things yet, but the Verizon things I'm getting, the receipts are so crazy too that I just did the one for paid end of December, and I'm adding this official bill reimbursement request to maybe make the paperwork, flow a little more rather than just having this receipt floating around in space for people in terms of paperwork trail. So,
Okay, all right, so what we'll do is we'll vote and approve the exact amount of each of your invoices, Janice. And then
Okay.
what I will do is I'll take the PDF and I can write over the PDF with one of my computer
Okay.
programs. So I'll sign over the
Oh, good.
PDF and I'll reference our meeting that we approved it at, and I'll send it along to Kathy and copying
Okay, good.
everybody. That'll be fine. Okay.
yeah. So I had to do, there's actually 2 bills for that month because I paid 30 and then I still didn't have coverage. And then The lady at the Verizon store checked and said, oh, it's supposed to be 35. And then, so then she paid another, I gave her another 5, and then it finally worked again. So I've been getting this odd system. Anyway, it's painful, but
I can see that.
yeah.
So, Bill, do you want to make the motion on this one? Because I'm not sure I quite follow, but I
Oh,
agree.
yes.
So
Yeah,
whatever.
this is Janice is on a monthly plan with her cell phone that we bought, and it's around 35 a month, plus or minus, depending on usage. Though I think it's unlimited. Yeah, it should be unlimited. But like you say, it should be 35 a month. But for some reason, I guess they underbilled her for the month of December. So I move that we approve $30
No,
to
35.
Janice.
35.
Yeah.
If you scroll down, there's another one for $5 from
Sorry.
Okay.
days later.
Well, all right. Well,
Yep.
There we go.
okay, I got it. Okay, $35 for said invoices.
A second?
Bill.
Any discussion? Hearing and
You
seeing
need a
none. All in
second?
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All approved.
Aye.
Okay,
Great.
so these are invoices dated 29 December and 4 January.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, $35. Okay, that one, all right, so that one's clear. So we'll go to your next one, Janice.
Wait, do we want to make sure that Dave has that?
That's what I'm doing right now as we talk. So,
Okay.
You've got the
Yeah,
$30
just write
for
that,
12/29, 2021, and
Yep.
the extra 5 that was forgotten, one
Yep.
for 2022.
Yeah, write that down. We'll have that in the
For a
minutes.
grand
And
total of
again,
35.
and again, I'll have this a electronic copy of this document, Janice, correct?
Yep. Yeah, I
Okay.
sent it to you already.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yep.
okay, thank you. Good. All right, next one.
Is this just a memo about it?
that's the
Yeah,
cover
that-
letter.
yeah,
That's the
that's
cover
Oh,
letter.
okay.
that I'm doing
So
now.
is there another one that I missed?
Yeah, for my hours. There's one for December and one for January
Yeah,
hours. It was in a
she's got
separate
2
email.
hourlies. Yeah.
It was probably yesterday.
Yeah, I get a lot of emails.
I know. Me too.
There you go. I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's 2 of them.
Okay, there we go.
Send it.
Okay, this is the most current one then. This is the January bill.
No,
Well,
that
it's
one's
This is
December.
December.
Oh, that's the December bill. Okay, okay.
Yep.
All right, so I move we pay Janice $18.75 for December hours for the commission.
I second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay.
Any opposed or abstain? All right.
No. So the next
And
one.
January.
Okay.
Okay, I move we pay Janice $893.75 for work for the commission during January 2022.
Second. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. Anyone? Oh, all in favor? Aye.
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 Right.
Thank you.
Anyone opposed? Abstain? Hearing none.
So what I'll do is I'll take those 3 documents, I'll hand write over them in blue ink, send them to Kathy,
Okay.
and hopefully Janice will be paid in a jiffy.
Okay. Good. That'd be nice.
That's a good deal for
Yeah.
a change.
Yeah. I think I'm still missing a month. I have to go
Okay.
back and check my stuff. I got September and October. I don't think I've gotten
Okay.
November paid yet. So I'll go back and check on that.
Yeah. Has Emily been paid for her bill from last summer?
I don't know, wasn't it in the last couple weeks that she sent something saying it hadn't been
She
paid?
sent me an email a couple weeks ago. Of course, I was kidding her. She's probably lying on the beach under an umbrella with sunglasses on, sending emails to people. That's okay. Great fun.
I don't know. I guess you have to check with Kathy, maybe.
Yeah, I'll ask Emily. She'll be the first one. If she's not getting paid, she'll let me know about it. Believe me.
Okay.
Okay, so what's up next, Amanda?
Financial account updates. I think we could probably skip that one.
Yeah, let's skip that. Let's
All
go to
right,
plant of the
outreach.
week. Yeah, Kevin's going to opine on the effects of hard ice freezes on plant growth and plant fatality. Kev, so give us a 2-minute brief on this topic.
I thought we were doing this.
Oh, we'll do that too. I want to do Kevin's as well, though.
Okay.
All right, well, Bill, you put me up to it. I'll try to be fast.
Yeah, let's do yours first, then we'll do wood fern.
Sure.
Okay, so basically, we had all this rain and these freezing temps, and they're leaving this layer of ice, and it's suffocating the surface beneath. So the roots of grass species are actually semi-active throughout a lot of the winter. And when you get approximately 60 days of ice coverage, you have no oxygen. And when you have no oxygen, the roots can't perform cellular respiration. And those anoxic conditions end up suffocating the plant and killing it, and costs a lot of money for guys like me in the golf course management business.
Yeah. So actually, the plants go anaerobic. So if they go anaerobic, they turn into wetland plants.
Yes. Yeah.
They could, right?
Right.
So we should all cheer for ice.
No.
No, but seriously, it affects turf grass. Enormous amount of damage around the country, I would suspect, from this ice, Kevin.
Yeah, especially up here. And I mean, we had 2 inches of rain Friday, and none of it really turned into snow. So
Wow.
the ground's frozen, it can't drain. I've been driving around seeing kids playing ice hockey on fields.
I've seen lawns too, yeah.
Frozen everywhere. Yeah. So
Kevin, the important thing I heard was 60 days. It has to be frozen for it to really get because I have often seen this underneath where snow piles might be piled, and the grass just doesn't come back in the spring in those areas. It's snow damage, I used to call it, but it's basically grass that has lost its battle with the snow.
Yeah, some of that also, what you might be seeing is the salt too is toxic.
Salt. Yeah.
You might be seeing some of that. Snow cover's good because snow's porous and oxygen can penetrate, but pure ice, 60 days, sheet of ice, you're suffocating.
Yeah.
Suffocating the roots.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Well, that's interesting.
Very good, Kevin. Thank you very much for the instruction on ice. Again, that's something people really don't talk too much about, but it does take a great effect on vegetation. Thank you, Kev.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's lecturing on the wood fern now?
I guess I will. It's sort of self-explanatory, but evergreen wood fern is one of the common ones you'll see in the woods now this time of year popping up through the snow. Usually you only see one branch or whatever. You don't see the whole concentric circle anymore. There's too much under snow. But it's the only thing that's frilly like that. It's lacy that you'll see in the woods. Otherwise, you'll have the Christmas fern or marginal. But mostly it's going to be Christmas fern and this one that's available and visible in the woods along on rock ledges and things like that. So it's a facultative. It grows in wetlands as well as uplands.
It does, because I'm looking at the curly part. What's that called? The frond? Is that called the frond?
Yeah.
Okay. So below the frond on the stalk, it looks like it's speckled. It's brown and green. What's the brown portion?
They call it scaly. It's like
Oh,
brown
okay.
scales on it, and that's always on there. Though in the winter, it's harder to see because it's under snow and stuff like that. But that's one of the factors. Usually the concentric arrangement of the cluster, this heavy scales on the lower stems are two of the key factors for any of the wood ferns. And then the
Oh, okay.
variability is in how well dissected it is, and sometimes the length of the leaflets and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. I think Kevin Brooks used to call this one the hay fern. Is that the same as the hay fern, or is that
Nope.
different?
Hay
No.
scented something else. But this one sometimes used to be called lacy fern, I found when I was looking things up. So
Oh, wow.
does
Very
look lacy.
good. Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. We've learned two
Yep.
good bits of information tonight. Excellent.
Yes.
We get professional development hours for this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Okay. What's next?
News and announcements. MACC conference right around the corner.
That's what I was going to
And
say.
they're also doing
Is it
a fundamentals
in-
frenzy.
in person or virtual?
Virtual.
Okay.
It's March 1st through 11th. They're having some things, I think it's like Thursdays, maybe another day during the week. And then on Saturdays are their big days. But there's a variety of things, different times, different days. You can sign up for individual things or for a package deal or the fundamentals as well.
Okay. But
And
it's
if you're
also,
doing a,
so nobody's going to Holy Cross. No one's going to Holy Cross then.
Nope. No, not yet.
you know,
I'm going to miss my chicken cacciatore. Son of a gun. I used to love that when they used to have it at lunch.
Oh, I love the food in the dining room there.
It is.
Yeah.
It was
And
wonderful.
the dining room
It was
itself was
wonderful.
gorgeous.
Oh,
But
yeah.
anyway,
It was
there's a bunch of good stuff, and Scott Jackson is stepping down after having been on the board of directors for quite some time, and he's always a very entertaining speaker, and he's one of the key speakers for one of the 2 Saturday sessions. I don't remember which one.
Okay. Very good.
So
All
I
right. Next
recommend
things.
people go.
site visits to be scheduled.
The only one I heard of today was the 142 Carver Street. I don't know if there was anybody else.
Well, and the Hallahan
Phillip-
subdivision, the
yeah, the
Jennifer
Phillip
Drive.
Circle.
Yeah,
Okay.
Phillip Circle.
Yep.
Yep.
So those 2,
Yeah. So
and
I'll
we'll
check in.
just wait until further notice.
Yeah,
from
I'll
you.
check in with people. I'll try to do it for a Saturday morning, give you enough notice, and then who knows, you never know with the weather.
Yeah. Especially lately.
Yeah.
Number 9, dealing with small wetland violations.
I think, can
Did
we
we already
take that
address
off?
that?
Yeah,
Yeah, we
I
can
don't,
take that off.
yeah.
Okay.
There are a
So
few
next
that
one,
have been on too long. Oh,
Yeah.
it did. Okay, the correspondence bill for Taylor Pond.
Yeah, Janice had one comment. I think I put down, and typically I will do this. I'll say the commission, regardless of how many people go or don't go to a site visit, I'll essentially say one for all for one. So I'll typically say the commission. But
Okay.
Janice suggested we change it to how would you word that, Janice? Several representatives of the
No,
commission?
Just representatives of the commission.
Yeah, I can, that's fine. I can tweak that.
I don't know. It's
Did
up to you guys. It was just me and Dave, so I'm not a commissioner, and that means it's just Dave was the only commissioner there. So I didn't know whether to leave it as the commission, and whether the people who were there would say, well, there were only 2 of you and only one was a commissioner, and you're saying you're the commission, went. So I didn't know if that'd be
Okay, all right, that's
problem.
fine. Yeah, I could, that's a 2-second tweak. Did anyone else get a chance to look at that document?
I did read the
I
letter.
had started to.
All I'm saying, Amanda, is I read the letter and I didn't pick up on it the same as Janice's, but I think it's a good comment, Janice.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's good. The essence of that summary is I outlined everything that folks saw when they went out there. I did a little bit of research on the on farm policy and 310 CMR, and I essentially said what's going on is typically permitted for an operating farm, and I confirmed that Randall has been an operating farm. I talked to him by telephone, and I looked at a series of aerial photographs which clearly showed planting and removing Christmas trees over the last 20 years on a regular basis. He
On
did
that
confide.
point, Bill, you mentioned in item 2 that when you were looking at the aerial photographs, you noticed that the farm pond changed in area over time.
Well, seasonally, Dave, because again, in the winter, it'll tend to freeze and back up. In the summer, when it's very arid and lack of rainfall, it'll go down in the area. So it does fluctuate in size over time. And I think that's what the 175 Taylor Street folks are complaining about. They say,
Right.
I guess they're claiming that it's much larger than it's ever been.
Well,
So-
they're claiming that there was actually a piece of plywood placed over the top of the inlet.
Yeah, well, again, we don't want to get into a tit for tat on this, but Mr. Randall asserted that he had nothing to do with the plywood, that it may have been a kid playing with a piece of wood in the pond and it floated into the pond and it worked its way over to the outlet. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, I think this is a good case for the civil judicial system. They'll have some fun with this one, though I suspect it won't go there.
It's not going to go there, I don't think either.
Of course not. Anyway, that was my take on it. So again, if you want, we can issue that to these folks.
Yep, I think we should, personally.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
then
I think it's good.
should we
Okay.
CC a copy to Mr. Randall or what?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I'll do then, Janice, I'll make the change that you mentioned, and I'll
Uh-huh.
CC David Randall. And I
Okay.
think he's at 183 or 185, Taylor. And then we'll have a copy in the file in perpetuity, and that will be it.
And the original to Ms. English.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Okay, and then we have some old business. 51 Forge Pond Road. Anyone?
That's the one for the burned out house that we talked to them last time, and I just tried to touch base with them today. When
So that one's,
Dave reminded me that we were supposed to send a determination, and I had forgotten about that. So I sent one out today and tried to call her and left a message. So we'll see.
okay, so yeah, that one's good. We already voted to approve the COC for 193 Amherst,
Yeah.
and we're going to all follow up with emails to Kathy that she should sign off on our behalfs.
I think
Yeah.
Attorney Kemp is here, guys.
And that would be for 193 Amherst Street.
Yes, Attorney Amanda Kemp is online. We might want to. Hello, Amanda.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, I'm so sorry you had to wait 2
I know.
hours to our boring meeting.
That's okay.
But
So-
yeah, go ahead.
We covered that earlier in the meeting. I don't know if you were on then or not. Probably not.
I think I came on partway through it.
Oh, okay. All right. Did you have any questions about what we've decided? We think it's fine. We just had some questions about the ditching, the maintenance of the ditching that we're going to discuss with the owner.
Okay. And how will you mail me the signed certificate of compliance?
Yes, Kathy will after she gets permission from the different commissioners to sign on their behalf. So you check
Perfect.
the email into her. Okay.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry for the delay. Yeah, we should have brought her in during that.
Yeah.
I didn't
during
see her
that
then.
segment.
Yeah, sorry.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay. Next one is DCR Forge Pond. That's kind of just on there in case anything comes up with the dam. And then 7 Phillips Circle complaint. That was related.
Those have both been on there from at least January of 2020.
You know,
Yeah.
7
Well,
Phillips Circle is the guy we're
That's the
signing
one we're
up.
talking about.
I know.
Yeah,
it
that's
is.
the one we're talking about.
But it's
That's
from
gonna,
over a year ago now.
right.
So I
Yeah,
don't know.
because we didn't actually do anything
Yeah.
aside from a site visit.
Yeah.
So should we take them off? I mean, Forge Pond, there's
Well,
nothing.
yeah, we're going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone on that one, of course.
That'll come off after we have our site visit, Janice.
That's right. That's
Oh,
exactly
okay.
right.
Yeah.
What about Forge
And with
Pond?
the Forge Pond, that's kind of a big one that, I don't know, it doesn't hurt to have it hanging out.
That's a repair of the existing dam, isn't it?
Yeah, as soon as we get $1 million, Dave.
Oh,
Yeah.
you mean it's our responsibility to repair the town's responsibility?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
And in terms of conservation and other, sustainability resilience initiatives and DCR and everyone else, it is a non-functional dam that, ecologically should be removed, as well as maintenance-wise, so that it's no longer a fear or risk. But that's not that's, again, that's $1 million. So like either way, if we fix it or we or remove it, it's going to be the same cost, and there is a strong move to keep it.
Yeah,
for
if we bring that to
sentimental
town,
and personal
if we
things.
bring that to town meeting for approval, you know which way that one's gonna go.
Oh yeah, there's going to be enough people to support it, but yeah.
So can we remove that for now rather than just clogging up the agenda if we don't have anything active happening with that?
Sure, I'd say that's fine.
To ask Kathy to just take
Right.
it off?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, but you want 7 Phillip left on until after the site visit?
It
Yeah,
will
let's-
go away, Janice, after the site visit.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Okay, folks, very, very excellent. It's 9:06.
Whew.
Yeah, it's close to. Is that our adjournment time?
It must be.
Just about, yeah, we've been pretty good about 9 o'clock, and this falls within that ballpark. So,
Mhm.
Yes, I'll write down
do move.
adjourn.
Yeah, I do move we adjourn.
Second.
I'll second, okay. All in favor? Well, that's Amanda's
Aye.
job.
Aye.
All in favor.
It's usually the chair's job. It's very confusing. We all kind of take turns.
That's fine.
I'll
Whoever wants
approve.
to do it. Anyway,
I
guys,
think
thank you
everyone's
very
in favor.
No, we had a productive meeting tonight. There was an excellent meeting. We got a lot done. Particularly discussing those old notice of intents and how we're going to deal with those going forward. That's going to be, that's a bear, because again, we get these things 20, 30, 40 years old,
Yeah.
and we have to establish a protocol for those, but at least we took a pretty good step today.
And I don't know what we're going to do about Ferry Hill. We didn't really have contact with anybody.
She, by the way, is our new fire commissioner or fire chief. So
Yeah,
I think
Micheline Turgeon, she's our fire chief, first female fire chief in Granby. Very,
Yeah.
very good, very capable.
And do
And
people, when they're submitting things to the planning board or to the building department for a permit like this, are they informed that they should really attend their commission, the Conservation Commission, to represent their project? Do we
That's a
know?
good point, Dave. I think we all got the plan. It's a flag lot. Did you get
Yes,
everyone look at the plan
flag lot.
set?
It's a flag lot. It shows a house. We don't know where on the lot it's going to be placed, but when I did the mass mapper thing, it's up against the Ferry Hill Forest Preserve, I'll call it, even though that's not what it's called. And
Right,
there
right.
is wetlands down the hill. But again, the back of the lot, if you look at the back of the flag lot, it's over, again, it's off of the mass mapper, but it's over a couple 100 feet away. So I'm guessing the house won't be way in the back. It's going to be closer to the front, just because of cost of driveways and everything.
Mhm.
But
Well,
my
it's a
question,
long flag lot anyway, though.
it's a long flag lot already. I have
Yeah.
seen vehicles drive back there. So, but again, the cost of blacktop and the cost of pavement, I can't see them extending too far back into the lot itself.
Yeah.
So the house is probably well away from any wetland. But
The,
So you don't believe the driveway will be crossing a wetland? There'll be no driveway crossing?
according to the mass mapper site, there's no wetlands.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good
That-
news then.
The
So
septic system plan does show the house and the septic behind it.
Where did you see a septic system plan?
It was one of the things that Kathy sent. There were like 4 different things: the Wright House, the septic plan, the lot,
Oh,
land lot
all right.
2,
I
and then
didn't,
the building list, signed
I
building
didn't,
list.
I didn't open up the right package then. I didn't see a septic system because the
Yeah,
septic system
Came in
probably
within the last 2 or 3 days. That's a recent emailing.
But it's like
Okay.
in the front third of the rectangular part of the
yeah.
lot.
And I was measuring from the back property line. So,
Mhm.
and that property line, just to give you ha-has, is that back lot is 400 feet by 330 feet. So it's over 2 acres, which obviously includes the neck of the driveway, which goes out to Fair Hill Road. But
Yeah.
anyway,
right.
I
I
don't.
can't figure out where it is on the map.
Well, I'm sure we're going to revisit that one going forward. So
Yep.
keep that
Okay.
one on the back burner. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, folks.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Well
Good night.
done. Okay, bye. Bye.